Not only do these guys give you the best Jazz coverage in the market, they've got you covered with the Mammoth, the Cougars, the Utes, and the Aggies. This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Let's get a qualifier right now. 801-575-ZONE, be caller 12. You'll qualify for the Copper Rock Open Championship giveaway. If you qualify, we will assign you a golfer in the field this week at the British Open. If that golfer wins, you're going to win a Copper Rock branded polo, an outwear piece, a hat, and a $100 gas gift card. It's all brought to you by our friends at Copper Rock, where the pros play. 801-575-ZONE. It's all over. Argentina is going to the World Cup final. They beat the English. Lionel is still alive for back-to-back.
Game-winning assist.
There he is, Lionel.
And he's very happy.
On Sunday.
What's this arm thing? Is that
Must be cultural.
a cultural celebration there? Anyway, yeah, the English blew it. Way to go.
Majorly. Egypt feels not so bad about themselves suddenly.
That's how Argentina's won the entire tournament, right? I wonder if the English will cry about the refs like the French coach did. You see that?
It did not.
Oh, he just questioned whether or not I don't know. This feels very European to me. Let me here. I've got the quote. He says, "I don't want to come across as a sore loser because we lost, but did tonight's referee have the level to officiate a World Cup semifinal?
Wow. Are you a man enough?
Are you good enough to be here?
Wow.
We were good enough to be here. Are you good enough?
You ever challenged a person's manhood?
I don't know. Is that challenging his man? That's more.
Are you good enough to be here?
That's more.
Is a very funny thing to ask.
That's
somebody.
more somebody challenging your like professional acumen.
Yeah, sure.
Right?
Sure.
Oh yeah, that happens all the time.
You did tell somebody I've been thrown out of class your joints in this.
I have said that
So,
before. While
That's
getting
kind of the same. It's the same spirit.
Yeah, right. Yeah, sure. But no, people, are you really qualified to do what you do? No, not really. Yeah, that happens a lot.
Okay.
So if I was this referee, I'd let it roll right off my back. But the answer is he probably had money on the game, probably like this guy. Or his life was being threatened in some way.
The coach or the ref?
The ref.
Okay.
Yeah, his kids have been kidnapped somewhere, and they said, hey, make sure Lionel makes it to the final. And that's basically what happened. Christian predicted it.
There he is, Lionel.
As soon as Argentina went down 1-0, yes. We said, well, it's going to be an exciting final 15 minutes because Argentina's about to put two in the back of the net. And sure enough.
There's a lot of powerful people that want
there
Lionel in the final.
There he is, Lionel.
Nobody wanted Harry Kane there, and they went out.
Yeah, so
Tough.
it is tough. But when did you say it was on Saturday?
11, 1, somewhere in that. Midday.
Okay.
Midday-ish.
But you're going to be watching Oppenheimer.
I'm going to be at the Odyssey.
Oh,
Yeah.
the other one. Okay, there you go, 1 o'clock on Big Fox, right? They're not just putting that one on FS1 like they've done with some of the other games?
Bury some of the big games, yeah.
No, not going to happen? All right, there you go. There's your World Cup update. Your final is going to be Argentina against Spain. Are you going to be cheering for one or the other?
I have some friends who are Argentine, and I know more people who served missions in Argentina than I do the UK.
Okay.
So I guess they feel some affiliation to it.
What was the controversy? The head of their soccer federation, made out with somebody at the celebration last time?
The president of the soccer federation in Argentina was kissing all the women, or kissed one of the women.
I think that's what it was,
players.
right? And they got
They're
fired.
Like, you don't get to do that.
It's like, dude, you had the best job in the world.
Yeah.
You're just taking bribes hand over fist.
Yeah, it's being.
Stop making out with the gals.
Yeah, Krause when Michael Jordan was playing for the Bulls. Like,
yeah.
Just take credit and stay
Don't
out of the way.
mess it up. So much for that.
Yeah.
Wait, you can't just in celebratory fashion walk around making out with a bunch of gals? Since when?
Everybody gets a kiss. What?
Since when is that out of
Don't
bounds?
do that.
All right. Do we want to play this? Let's play this clip from Caleb Wilson.
Okay.
Where Summer League continues on, the dog days of Summer League, as they say, and we're going to talk to Joel Lorenzi at the top of the 4 o'clock hour. Covered Summer League and covers the NBA for the Athletic. But this is Caleb Wilson, right? Talking about Darryn Peterson, Let's play that clip, Christian.
Why was it so important for you to play that second game of back-to-back?
I mean, I feel like I'm different than all of them. Like, I can't say they don't enjoy basketball, but, like, I enjoy basketball. Like I love this shit. So, I mean, I'm going to play as much as I can, as much as my team will let me. I mean, I'm not the type to go away from a game because I don't feel like I feel good, because I know in the NBA I'm not going to feel good some games. And as long as I don't have an injury or something that's actually wrong with me, I'm going to play every time. Because, you know, people come from all over the world to come see me play, so I don't want to let them down too.
You told me the other day that if you didn't get to play against Darryn or AJ that you would be cool about it, but now that the time has passed and you didn't play against them, do you still feel the same way? Are you disappointed at all?
No, I'm not disappointed. You know, I feel like yesterday was kind of weird for me, honestly, because I expected to play against Darryn, and I expected to play against a lot of the players that they had set out. So when I came into the game, I didn't have the right mindset, in my opinion, which led to me missing my free throws. Just reflecting on it now.
He loves the game.
He was funny. He was at the draft, obviously. He was like very enthusiastic about going to Chicago. And he said like his favorite rapper is from Chicago or something. And he was a very charming kid. This is a kind of a weird step for me to start your career on.
What do you mean?
I care about basketball more than these other guys is a weird approach for me.
I would guess that's because everybody has been telling him that he's the fourth best player in this group.
I think that's true.
For the last 6 months, everybody has been saying, well, how does it feel to be fourth?
I think we talked to Kristen Peak right after the lottery, and she said, yeah, it was kind of weird to me that right after the results were revealed, they cut to AJ and Darryn and Cam Boozer and didn't show Caleb Wilson one time.
Yeah.
As far as like being in the conversation with these top guys. So he was playing with a chip on his shoulder, and then obviously his injuries at North Carolina didn't allow him to play as much. I think that's all totally fair.
I think that's actually a really nice way of saying I'm as good as everybody.
Sure.
That's how I read it. Is that somebody who thinks he's as good as those other three players, right? I mean, even if you don't agree, Ben, I'm sure
he might very well be, sure.
He thinks he's in the same conversation as all of those players, and he probably has hated, opening up the draft predictor by Jabroni and having him say like, well, Caleb's pretty good, but I mean, he just picked up basketball like 2 days ago, and he's not nearly as good as these other guys, and he'll be slotted at fourth. He doesn't enjoy reading that, I'm sure. You know, or tuning into the Jake and Ben show and saying, God, why would the Jazz even consider Caleb Wilson? Which is something I'm pretty sure that I said. He probably doesn't love that.
Yeah.
And probably doesn't want to be the guy, though, that says, I'm the best there is.
Sure.
So he went with, I love basketball just as much as these guys. Yeah, I'm all right with it.
I would certainly rather him not be too cool for school, and he's certainly not too cool for school.
Yeah.
This is a more enjoyable approach than, yes, if he was sitting out and thought he was too good for Summer League. I'm glad he's not feeling that way. I do think sometimes I've got the ultimate competitive edge is, and look, I'm painting guys in a very difficult corner. I'm giving you a very narrow slot to thread of what I think the perfect approach needs to be, because I love that Victor Wembanyama wants to go out and win an all-star game, and at the same time, I'm also like, just relax, dude. Just like, it's a little corny. It's a little ridiculous.
Well, I have no idea what his approach is. I would never read into a public interview and know what his approach. I have seen before that behind the scenes, some of their less, I don't want to say lazy because that's such an insult, but I mean the lazier players talk louder about working hard.
Yes. That's everywhere in life. But certainly happens with players too.
It happens with players too. So I have after listening to that, I don't even know if he likes basketball. He might be a cricket guy. I don't know.
Yeah,
but he's gonna tell everybody that is going to listen, like, oh, I love basketball, the very mostest on the planet, because I'm a basketball player who's trying to make millions of dollars.
One of my latest mantras in life, which is really bad for my career, is the closer I get to this, the less I know. I have realized that the more relationships I built, the closer I've gotten to people in the NBA, players, front office people, et cetera, the more things I took as something I understood or was like, well, I've got a good feel for that, the more I actually learn about what's happening, the less I kind of feel I have an accurate read on it, which I've enjoyed. I've liked recognizing that, oh, there's a lot more to learn here. There's a lot of work still left to do, and I want to continue to get better at it. Not to sound corny like guy who's going to work harder. But along those lines, I have seen a lot of people say all the right things, and it goes completely wrong. And I've seen a lot of people say all the wrong things, and it goes completely right for them. So I realize this stuff really doesn't matter all that much.
No, I'm just jaded about being lied to repeatedly to my face
100%.
for the 20 plus years.
Yes, no, I think you're exactly right. And you have been doing this longer than I have. So I think you have reached some of these milestones earlier than I have, or before I did, just because you've been doing this longer than I have. So I do feel that same way. But along the lines of, as you have said over and over, Summer League doesn't matter. And I can I can have some qualms with that and say what I do think matters. And by the way, I don't think you're throwing everything out. But there are some things like, well, I think this is good, or I think this is good to say. This stuff doesn't matter to me at all. As far as like an indicator that it's going to mean he's a good player 3 years from now or 5 years from now. This doesn't signal something to me.
Can I tell you the story of when I realized, not the first time I realized that I've been lied to by a coach or a player, but the first time I really realized how like prolific it was, or how much it happened. And it's kind of funny, Bronco's back in the conversation, but it was Bronco Mendenhall. No offense to him, he's far from the worst offender. But when BYU was going independent, there were reports for a solid month leading up to it that said, like BYU's considering going independent. Utah's going to the Pac-12. BYU's kicking the fires on it. All these reports and stuff. Bronco was doing spring ball at the time, and so was doing media availability, and he was asked about it. And he says, I don't know what you're talking about. I haven't heard that. Went right to that. I don't know what you're talking about. That's not a thing. That was his answer. I don't know what it was word for word, but his answer was that. Well, lo and behold, BYU gets in or goes independent, right? It happened, days maybe after he had addressed it. And afterwards, it's like, you're trying to tell me that the athletic director is considering taking the football team into independence, and he would never even have mentioned that to the coach?
The head coach had no idea?
The head coach had no clue?
Yeah.
Now, all Bronco had to do was go, that's Tom's department. That's the athletic department stuff. I'm just trying to get through spring ball, which would have been honest. Maybe not telling you everything that he knew, but it's not his place to comment on it. He could have just done that. But his go-to was a lie. And so it's like, well, you just lie so much that your automatic is just to
lie.
Oh, I'm just going to lie about it? It makes my life easier just to lie about it, so I'm just going to lie about it? Could have easily answered it in a very delicate yet honest way, but instead was like, I don't know what you're talking about, dude. That's fake news, essentially. It's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
It's like, your automatic, your go-to is just to be dishonest about it, that you don't even think about it, because you had to know the question was coming. You had to know about it.
Yeah.
I'm just going to lie about it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But anyway, again, no offense to Bronco, but it just seemed so easy. that was like his default. So I don't know what to believe. I have no idea if he likes basketball. I'm sure during his career, Greg Ostertag told you a million times, like, man, I love this game.
Love being here.
Yeah, love being here every second of it. Lo and behold, he retires, and we figure out, he didn't really like basketball.
Liked his zebras and his camels and his kangaroos and whatever he's raising in Texas more.
Really wasn't that all that into it. But going through it, I'm sure he would say, I eat, sleep, and breathe basketball. Are you kidding me? So I have no idea.
Yep.
Does loving basketball even equate success?
It also doesn't matter. Yeah,
No.
I don't. It doesn't. So look, I'll say this now. This is an easy approach to take because he's in the middle of a renaissance. He's having a very good run over the last 12 months, and that's Keontae George. Every single report, everyone I've talked to on the record, off the record, behind the scenes, which, by the way, they could be lying to me. People could be lying to me as well. But every single thing I've ever heard is nobody watches more basketball than Keontae George. He's a psycho. He is a freak. He's at every Jazz draft workout. There's a reason he wanted to coach the summer league team. That's all he does when he goes home. Like, he's got his girlfriend, he's got his dogs and his cat, I think, and he watches basketball. He just is truly a basketball junkie. He loves to, quote, eat tape. That's all cool. It probably doesn't matter. It matters some. I remember Rudy Gobert talking about how much game footage he watched, and he remembered watching an alignment come out of a timeout in a late game situation where he recognized what the opposing team was running and blew it up because he had seen it on camera and went and blocked a shot for a game winner because he really did that, which was great. It was awesome for Rudy. The biggest thing was probably that he was 7'1", 7'2". That was probably the real biggest advantage of how he blew that play up more than he had actually watched it. But look, Keontae can watch a million hours of footage. If Darryn Peterson's a better player, then Darryn Peterson's just a better player. It just doesn't really. Some of that stuff doesn't matter that much, actually.
See, that's a good one. The eat, sleep, and breathe film. Do you know how many players I've heard that about?
Countless.
Countless.
Yeah.
I have no idea if they're doing that. That could be an absolute bald-faced lie. I would bet. Do you remember when it became public that Kyler Murray was playing video games?
I was just about to bring him up.
And they put it in his contract that he had to watch X amount of film.
Mm-hmm.
After that became public, I don't even know who the coach was at the time. It wasn't Kingsbury, was it?
I don't think so.
But I bet you could find a quote from whoever the coach was at the time trying to do a little PR save for that becoming public. I bet you the coach said, "Oh, he eats and breathes film every day. This is hardly necessary. They just blah blah blah." I mean, I've heard that about so many players. I don't know. Keontae might be into watching reruns of The Office. I have no clue. Donovan Mitchell watched a lot of basketball because he was annoying about tweeting about every other game but the one he was playing in. But I don't know. Does that mean anything?
Does that mean anything? No. No, it doesn't.
Now, I think if you don't adequately prepare, I do believe that makes you less of a player.
If you hate basketball, your odds of becoming a great basketball player are not as high.
But you can hate basketball all you want. Are you going to do what it takes to be prepared?
Was Andre Agassi a good tennis player?
Pretty dang good.
Did he like tennis?
Not particularly. Does Serena Williams like tennis?
Probably the best ever.
She does not.
But does not like playing.
No.
Or didn't like playing. Might be the best female player of all time. Probably is the best female player of all time.
Be one of the greatest athletes of all time.
Right. So that stuff. Again, Caleb Wilson, I'm rooting for all these kids. I want young people to succeed and have fun, and I liked watching his stuff at North Carolina, and I'm glad he has bucked all the trends of what his reputation was coming out of Carolina as a non-shooter. But the longer I do this, again, when I used to think, well, that matters. He said it. It matters. It just doesn't matter. The further I've gotten in my career, the more I recognize there's probably less correlation between what people say and what people do than I ever believed.
Enough to make you cynical.
Yeah. And I'm trying to not be jaded because I like the people. I do. I like the people we get to cover, we get to know, we get to talk to. I'm not just talking about players. I like the human aspect of all of this. I try to not be jaded and not doubt everybody and doubt everybody. But I also recognize that I've heard so many things so many times and they don't really, it doesn't mean anything in the long run.
Man, Argentina. That was a good pass by Lionel for the win.
Eats the tape.
He eats tape.
Watches a lot of footage.
I mean,
I love this.
he ignores his kids 24/7.
Correct. Bad father.
His kids come to him and say, "Hey, Dad, how about you read me a story?" He says, "What are you doing?" "I'm
watching Maradona highlights."
"Yeah, get away from me."
Yeah.
Eats it. All right. BT, coming up next, we'll talk a little golf with the Open Championship. Stay tuned. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jacob Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Let's do another qualifier for the Copper Rock Open Championship giveaway. Be caller 12 right now, 801-575 zone. We will assign you a golfer in the top 25 of the field at the British Open this week. If your golfer wins, you win a Copper Rock branded polo, outerwear piece, a hat, and a $100 gas gift card. It's all courtesy of our friends at Copper Rock, where the pros play. 801-575 zone, caller number 12 right now. Do you remember who we assigned on our last giveaway, Christian?
Minwoo Lee.
Okay. All right, there you go.
Dang,
well, that was the last
Minwoo's
time.
off the list.
We'll find out who is in this next one. We're hoping to talk to Brian Taylor of Real Golf Radio fame and get his thoughts on what to watch for at the Open Championship. I heard Scotty, and Scotty's a grass guy, so we'll give him a pass, but him complaining about the the unique style of British links
Oh, okay.
courses.
You're talking about actual lawn.
Yeah. No, not a weed. No, I'm talking
know
about
that about Scotty?
No, Scotty's a grass.
It's news to me.
So Scotty's hobby is he's a lawn guy. A lawn guy. And so
Okay.
he doesn't like the brown grass
Sure.
at the British Open.
Yeah.
But I kind of like it. I like the original nature of it. And at least link style and those types of courses change how the golfers have to play.
Mm-hmm.
With the wind and it dries out and the rough is a little bit different. You can't just stop your ball.
Right.
I don't know. It changes it a little bit. I like it, though. Watching that John Vanderbilt guy try to hit it out of the – remember that? The stream or whatever that was?
I don't need it to be easy. Yeah. I don't need every round to be easy, and I don't need it to be positive scores, plus scores, winning, but I don't need it to be 18 under by Sunday.
I don't know about easy. I just more different. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like in the States with all these overwatered courses where they can just stop it right next to the pin,
Right.
And this is a different style where you're going to have to run it up. You're going to have to play some different shots, some different clubs. That's why Bob was telling us yesterday that kind of the creme de la creme of golf history is won at this course because usually it takes the best player or one of the best players to do it as opposed to someone that, makes a few putts.
Russell Henley, Justin Rose, Victor Hovland, the opening tee time tonight, technically tomorrow morning, 9:36 a.m. In the UK, 4:36 our time.
I'm setting my alarm.
Set your alarm.
Probably not. But I'll watch it on Sunday.
You're not going to, and it's not like you need to get up that much later than that.
When we get up early.
You will still be, they'll be maybe making the turn
Oh, yeah.
when you're watching that opening round?
Probably
You'll
true.
be up and moving.
I could watch something while I make breakfast. That's a
Yeah.
good idea. I didn't even think about that.
You guys have a TV in the kitchen?
Kind of. There is no wall between our kitchen and our living room. And so I can kind of angle the TV so I can see it. We made one big room out of both rooms.
Sure.
If that makes any sense. How do you make a little house feel bigger, Ben?
Open concept.
You get rid of walls.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we did. I'll turn it on then, coming up in the morning. In fact, let's get to it. We'll talk to BT. Go ahead and hit that open.
This Open Championship update is presented by Copper Rock, where the pros play on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
His visit on the show is brought to you by Mountain America Credit Union, Mountain Land Supply, Black Desert Resort, Hoops Vision, Uinta Golf as well. Of course, you hear him on Real Golf Radio every Saturday morning. He's our buddy Brian Taylor. Hello, BT.
Yo, BT.
Hey, what's up, boys?
We're doing well. We were making fun of some family members and a family member of my dental hygienist who blocked off 2 weeks to watch the World Cup. When they are playing across the pond, are you waking up at 4:36 a.m. to see Justin Rose's tee time?
You know, that's always the dilemma. I can tell you when I was younger, I was very enthusiastic about getting up really early and watching the coverage. Of course, so much has changed. You know, your ability to, consume content has changed over the years, right, as well. So I probably will stay up late tonight to watch the first tee shot, which is, I think, a little before midnight our time usually. I haven't looked the exact first tee time, but something like that. And so I thought it would be kind of cool to kind of see it tee off and then get a little sleep, wake up. And then, breakfast in the British Open is like one of my favorites. Just sit there, get some cereal, whatever you're having, and just watch some golf. And this one's going to be particularly, a lot of times you're sitting here, it's 100 degrees outside, and then you're watching guys over there in sweaters and stocking hats and things like that. It's not going to be that way. It's going to look a lot like it feels here watching those guys play that burnout Birkdale. So it'll be fun.
I've heard you talk a little bit about this, but how different is it to play this British link style course, and why does it favor, kind of the best players in the world?
Yeah, it's a good question, Jake. And golf is, with links especially, the firmer, the harder it is, the faster the course plays, the more difficult the test. And that's for a lot of reasons. Off the tee, links courses are notorious for pot bunkers and, some in some cases, heavy gorse bushes or tall heather or whatever you want to call it, right? So when the fairways, just think about it this way, when the fairways are soft, you could hit a drive and it'll kind of check up in the fairway and it'll roll out a little bit, but it pretty much stays where you hit it. When it's firm and fast, just think about trying to hit a tee shot down your road and hope it stays in between the gutters and doesn't hop into anything that it shouldn't, right? So that's kind of what these guys are going to be facing. I heard John Rahm mention he could probably get a 6-iron 280 yards on some of these holes when they're downwind on these firm, fast fairways. So what it's gonna do is bring out the creativity. It's going to create some decisions for these best players, and that's usually when it causes the players at the highest level trouble, when they can't just point and shoot, point and click, same thing, on the next hole. They really are going to have some really good caddy discussions. I think is going to be really entertaining this week, where guys are going to be discussing strategy off the tees, into the greens, and certainly into the greens, same thing. Most of the time, you're going to be playing shots that you're going to allow for some run up. You're not throwing darts like you do at a lot of the USPGA courses. And so I think that tends to lean to the strengths of the best ball strikers, which tend to be the best players in the game. And ball striking is just a kind of a cool term that I've always liked, that just describes that a player that's able to control his shot shape, trajectory, all of that kind of thing, and play shots with different clubs into different windows. And when you're able to do that, it's a different level of creativity that will be on display, and I think it'll be really entertaining for people to watch.
Outside of weather being beneficial, depending on when you're teeing off, if it's going to get worse or it's going to dry out or whatever, do you have any personal theories or conspiracies when it comes to groupings of, hey, I think it's beneficial to be in a strong grouping early, everyone's playing sharp, or do you think that makes it more difficult? Do you have any of your own personal opinions on that?
I know there's stats out there that'll tell you, late early versus early late, in certain majors tend to favor certain players. But at the Open Championship, it's difficult because the weather not only can change daily, it can change within the day, on a lot of these links courses. So, you could sit home on TV and watch the way the course is playing for the guys in the early groups when you're in the afternoon wave. And by the time you get out and tee off, the conditions have completely changed based on the direction of the wind. And so that's some of the uniqueness of links golf. As far as your grouping with players and who's playing well and having a strong grouping, I do think you tend to see often guys will draft off each other a little bit. One guy's hot and the other guy's, you got a couple of good players grouped together and both are kind of drafting off each other and going low. So, and then by going low, major championship speak, sometimes that could be hanging around even par, but playing well. And so I consequently, you got a couple guys in your group going bad. Sometimes that makes it extra difficult to focus and try to play your game and play well when your playing companions are struggling. So, that's a unique dynamic to the game. Who do you get paired with? And that's why it's always interesting when the majors release these pairings. Some of them are traditional. At the Masters, the defending champ usually plays with the U.S. amateur champ and things like that. So there's certain, sort of traditional groupings, but the Open Championship anymore, it sort of has been marquee groupings at all different windows of television time, right? So that when people are tuning in, they've got somebody that they recognize to watch.
So now that Scheffler is missing cuts again, I'm assuming we all just assume he stinks now.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't put any money on that guy. He's let's see, I saw a stat today that said he's the only player in the 4 major strokes gained, which means basically how he ranks against the field in shots off the tee, shots into the green, shots around the green, and putting, that's inside the top 15. The next closest that has any sort of has those 4 inside the top 50 is Ludwig Oberg. So when you look at it, the guy's still playing a super high level of golf. I think he's I think I said this earlier today, he doesn't quite have the dust perhaps that, he had the last couple of years where every sort of putt that could have lipped out, lipped in. And it seems like this year he's had some that could have lipped in that lipped out. That's golf. That happens. But, Scotty's still the odds on favor for a reason. He's the number 1 player in the world for a reason. And he's a defending champ. So it's kind of cool too. I love stats. And the last time a player went back to back at the Open Championship was here at Birkdale, Padraig Harrington in 2008, coming off of his win at Carnoustie in 2007. So, we'll see. I think Scotty's still a good bet this week, and I would have to say that the claret jug runs through him.
What do you think we can go 18 months, but really last 2 years have meant for Rory McIlroy and his legacy and how he's going to be viewed long term?
Now you're asking me from my perspective, and it's interesting because Rory, I think, is the most polarizing, guy in the game right now. And people would argue Bryson DeChambeau. I'm with you. There's a lot of guys. Sergio's pretty polarizing these days, but as far as popularity and game, you got a back-to-back Masters champion who was for, the last 5-6 years, the spokesman for the PGA Tour against this whole live thing. And then he's got away from that, didn't want to do anything with it. Now he doesn't really want to talk about it. Now he says things that are just, he's in this era of, I feel like he's too young to be saying some of the things he's saying, in the sense that when Jack Nicklaus or Gary Player or some of these guys sit down after they hit the ceremonial tee shot at Augusta, they'll wax on and on about, back in the day, or this is what I see, or the challenges of the game today, or the problems are, and, things like that. And they sort of, that's like elder statesmen sort of looking back, on tell you what they think and what's wrong and why it was better then and all that kind of thing. And I feel like Rory's sort of tackling some of those issues. And maybe it's like too early, like he's still winning, like he's still the 2-time reigning Masters champion. And so he says some things that you just kind of go, huh? And some people hate it. Some people are like, he's talking out of both sides of his mouth, things like that. So as far as like legacy goes, like from a playing standpoint, to win back-to-back majors, to get the career Grand Slam, like Rory's, beyond a Hall of Famer. He's one of the all-time greats, right? And the success he's had on both Europe's side, plus, in the U.S. on the PGA Tour, is undisputed. And he's likely to go down as the greatest European golfer of all time. But when you think of legacy, I often think about how people are remembered. And I do think that in this age of social media, of clips, and quotes that just get passed around and commented on and dissected and broke down, I think he's lost maybe a little of his appeal in the court of public opinion, just because of some of the things he said. I think a lot of people, that loved Liv don't like the things he has to say, and even the PGA guys. He's sort of like one of those guys that seemed like he was on one political party, and now he's sort of like skating the line between the two, and that, I think that has some polarizing effects. So that's kind of a weird answer to say, like, his golf clubs have done the work and the talking that makes him one of the greats of all time. Sometimes I think his mouth makes people sort of, turn their head sideways and go, huh? What was that? And that'll be interesting to see where he goes from here.
All right, Ben and I had a debate on the show yesterday, and I'm curious to where you weigh in here, BT. Who has done more damage to their legacy and reputation, Tiger or Phil?
Oh, wow. Well, I think at the moment I would say Phil. Tiger is off doing his rehab and what have you, and yet everybody still loves Tiger again, right? Yeah, and it's almost like, oh, there goes Tiger again. Now, I'll say this, and I don't want to make light of it at all, right? I mean, DUI situations, regardless of whether it's, prescription drugs or whatever the alleged, I'll just go with alleged for the sake of not knowing all of the details firsthand. But you've got, so far he's really only hurt himself. I mean, when he crashed that Genesis, he was lucky to survive himself. It certainly affected his career and his ability to play the game at the highest level, but he survived. At this point in time, he hasn't really hurt anybody else. If he were to, and it seems inevitable if you keep up that kind of behavior behind the wheel, that it's sort of inevitable that you're going to hurt or kill somebody. That's one of those things that would be, obviously life-changing for so many. And but at this point in time, barring all that, I think it's Tiger just, I don't know why, but Tiger seems to have a little bit more equity built up, where Phil seems to be a bit of a pariah right now. And with his, trying to submerge the PGA Tour and the traitor sort of thing that he went through. And then now you add on, it was always sort of, well, at least he wasn't this, like Tiger. Well, now it seems like those are some of those similar things he's going through now, at least allegedly. And I would say Phil for sure has had the biggest damaging effect. I don't know that he's welcome back on the PGA Tour, maybe ever. He's already in the Hall of Fame, so they can't really take that away from him. But he's sort of, scarlet letter guy, where I think Tiger still has, plenty of capital left amongst the public. That's my opinion. I don't know. How did you guys debate it?
Well, we decided Tiger's offenses were more egregious from a legal standpoint.
Yeah.
Because taking drugs and driving is probably a bad idea.
More illegal than hitting on dudes' wives, which is not cool either.
And hiring the cart dog to drive around with your phone, which is kind of funny. But Tiger's affairs, we remember, they captivated the nation for like a month. They kept a counter on how many gals had come out to say they had affairs. Remember the Perkins waitress? So I don't know. Phil's are more recent, right? But Tiger's are pretty epic.
You're also right, BT, that Tiger is so much more beloved at his height than even Phil was. I mean, so much more beloved. So he's got more room to fall, which can be good or bad.
Although Phil was the Arnold Palmer. Like
he's the popular.
He would have built the statue. Like he actually spent more time with the fans. Even though Tiger was more revered, I think Phil was more maybe even loved in the sense that Phil would take the time to sign the autograph, take the pictures, do all the public appearance stuff. Regardless of how he was off of camera, he was always seemed to be on, in front of the public. And he was literally going to be, he could have slid into the CBS tower. He would have been calling shots. He would have literally had the world. He was the oldest major winner coming off of the Kiowa win at the PGA. Like everything was set. I don't know. I mean, Phil was always so entertaining for how spectacularly he played golf, whether it was for the good or for the disaster. It was always spectacular. And I think only Phil could have spectacularly blown up his career and his reputation the way he has done in the last several years.
Hey, this is America. We love tearing people down, but we love building them back up. Yeah, so we'll see.
The story is not finished.
No, it isn't by a long shot. But the collapse has been pretty epic, that is for sure. BT, you are epic. You do a great job covering, every week, but certainly covering all the majors. We appreciate you and all of your fine work.
I enjoy the Open, guys. It's going to be a long drought before the first week of April when we get to see another major after this week. So savor.
Thanks, BT.
See you, boys.
There you go. That's Brian Taylor. Hear him every Saturday morning on Real Golf Radio.
Just hoping Tony Finau keeps his nose clean. Seems
well,
like
Tony's got to get his.
I was talking to the president.
Tony's got to get his game back.
Correct.
He's got to get his game back on track, get healthy, and qualify for some tournaments.
He will.
We can worry about legacy later.
Got a bunch of kids, right? He's doing the young dad thing.
Hey, it is super hard to. Unless you are Scott Scheffler, who sets an unfair bar, it's hard to stay on the PGA Tour. It's hard to compete in all these tournaments, week after week after week.
We were making a joke, I think it was off the air, about you should want Lionel Messi because he's a bad father. Now, we don't know if Messi's a bad father. I don't even know how many kids he has.
No, we were talking about him watching film.
But the idea is he is a bad father because all he does is watch soccer, which makes him a great player. Uh-huh. The correlation then being that you should want players on your team that are bad fathers because it means they're going to be good soccer players because they're not spending any of their time with their family.
They're not with their children.
Because we were talking about how there's really no correlation between a lot of the things that we seem to praise, a la Caleb Wilson, talking about maybe I like basketball more. And it's like, yeah, well, I don't know if Shaq liked basketball, but he's a better player than you were. Not all those things matter. But now getting into Phil took time to sign more autographs than anybody else. Doesn't mean he was the best guy, apparently.
Or maybe he was really great at the time and has had a turn.
Or has had a turn, right.
I don't know.
Correct.
He obviously is Phil is an adrenaline junkie. I mean, most gamblers are. That's why they do what they do. And Phil's game always played into that, right? That's why he was popular. People liked that he took chances, and he had some pretty epic failures, at the U.S. Open and others, that he bounced back from and was continued to be, kind of the gambler. Then it eventually paid off. But, chasing that adrenaline is often bad for people and leads to bad decisions. I think at his heart, he's a gambling addict, and that has led to other issues.
Live by the sword, die by the sword.
Yeah. chasing it.
Yep.
Because if you look at the amount of bets that he was doing in his heyday and just the sheer volume of it, that's a guy who's chasing it all of the time.
Can't stop.
And then you hear all the epic stories about him in practice rounds and betting big with these other players and having all these brash moves and all these like legendary things. And it really is just somebody that has an addiction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's no romance to it actually at all.
Mm-mm. But that chasing of adrenaline, I'm sure, is part of what makes him a great golfer. Like Robin Williams, rest his soul, was bipolar, and his mental illness was part of what made him brilliant, unfortunately.
Who was our Olympic snowboarder in Canada who became a drug kingpin that just got arrested?
Oh, yeah.
It's like, yeah, those are absolutely related.
Right.
That wasn't an accident. Now, not every adrenaline junkie becomes a drug dealer.
No, but it's in the same family.
But there's a reason that guy became a kingpin and was also a super high-level snowboarder.
Right.
Those were the two sides of the same coin.
Breaking Bad. The science teacher starts selling meth.
Like,
No, not close. Not quite.
You're almost there.
I think I have.
You haven't watched Point Break yet.
I think I have the opposite of that.
Which is probably the right way.
Like the adrenaline that comes with coiling a hose is too much for me. I need to.
You're right. You really celebrate moderation.
Yeah, celebrate the anti-adrenaline.
Right.
I don't. The adrenaline frightens me.
Yeah.
I can't have any.
Right.
But
you know what? Relatedly, and a positive, your car insurance rate's got to be like
it's
$35 a month.
Yeah, pretty good. It's not bad at all.
No speeding tickets. Yeah, you're doing
Nothing.
great.
All right, stay tuned. We'll have more coming up next. Jake and Ben 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All systems go. This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson. Now, every day from 2 to 6 on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. It is a Wednesday. That means it's a win ticket Wednesday. Ben, let's do it right now. Caller number 12, 801-575-ZONE. You're going to win a family 4-pack of tickets to go see Zach Bryan at Rice Eccles Stadium. Don't miss your chance to see one of country music's biggest stars live at Rice Eccles Stadium on August 7th. Be caller 12 right now, 801-575-ZONE. Did you see that it was Adam Silver who crawled out of his crypt and made the WNBA suspend? What was her name?
I did.
It was the gal who punched the throat of Caitlin Clark.
Correct.
What was her name?
Yeah. I did see that he played a role in the suspension.
Well, now the WNBA is denying it, actually, and saying that Adam didn't have anything to do with it. But the Sports Business Journal is reporting that he did. And it was Alyssa Thomas, by the way, is the name of the gal for the Mercury.
Adam needs to go on defense because he is probably rightfully, and even if it's not rightfully, at least in the court of public opinion, has kind of become dubbed as the worst commissioner in sports right now. Certainly of the major four. Everybody hates the new apron rules in the NBA because while Victor Wembanyama's getting a pat on the back for taking 25% of the max, or the 25% max as opposed to 30% max, other people are also saying, why do we have super billionaire owners forcing players, who, by the way, are also just absurdly wealthy, but why are the players taking a pay cut to keep teams together as opposed to super billionaire owners paying a little bit extra to keep the rosters together? This seems a little bizarre. Now, again, I would also let you know that the players have zero in common with you as a person, with the amount of money that they make as well, for the most part.
Oh man, I'm all about blasting away on Adam Silver. I'm surprised that is what.
But it's one of the many things people are getting frustrated with Adam Silver.
Like the second apron. You know why you do all that stuff? Competitive fairness, to keep parity in the league, to keep more fan bases engaged, and to keep more eyeballs on the product, as opposed to the whole sport being centered around the Los Angeles Dodgers, like Major League Baseball is.
Correct.
There's one team in the whole dang league.
I'm with you.
So that is, I of all the things to criticize Adam Silver for, I have not heard that much of that one.
But people hate the new draft rules or tanking rules.
Yep.
We have seen people.
The play-in?
Yeah, the play-in, the in-season tournament. People have not liked the idea that you're not building dynasties anymore, that there are more random teams winning than ever before. There are front-running national media members who don't want to have to watch the Milwaukee Bucks and the Oklahoma City Thunder and et cetera, et cetera. I know we're coming off of a Knicks championship, but there were times when it was easier when all you had to do was watch the Warriors or the Cavs because they had Steph and LeBron, and they were going to be in the championship every year. So
now, I'm actually totally fine with Adam Silver weighing in on this, if this turns out to be true, by the way, because he is her boss. Speaking of the WNBA
Engelbert?
commissioner, Kathy Engelbert. The NBA is invested in the WNBA, and she is doing a terrible job handling the league right now. Although, ironically enough, the league is getting more attention than it ever has.
It's never been better.
It's just not for the best reasons. I had no clue how rough the WNBA was.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, take Caitlin Clark aside, who should have the expectations to not get stabbed in the eyeball with a fingernail when she's trying to play basketball, or stepped on or throat punched or whatever this is.
Right.
But there's like crazy rough fouls all the time. And it may be the worst officiated sport I've ever seen.
The infrastructure in the sport, unfortunately, is quite poor. Now, it has some real advantages. The recent contracts that have been negotiated through the CBA are A+. The women are making a lot of money now. It's going to draw more talent. There is more talent in the league right now than there's ever been before. There are truly superstars in the league. You know, Caitlin Clark was kind of thought of as having to be a savior for the WNBA. And while she brought some attention to it, she's like 10th best player in the league, 8th best player in the league right now. She didn't actually need to be Michael Jordan, and the league is still in pretty good shape because you have Olivia Miles, you have all these other women who have, Ionescu, who has stepped up, Asia Wilson, who might be the greatest player of all time, that are playing great. And there's a lot of talent on a lot of teams, or Sophie Cunningham, who's gotten a lot of attention recently for memes and other reasons, and all for good, that are good for the WNBA. The league is technically in a very good spot, but it's not being run particularly well.
No, and hey, whatever. I have no idea. I would argue Caitlin Clark might be better than that, but she is the most popular player.
But she is the most popular player.
You have to deal with that, whether she's the second best or fourth best or whatever. And they've got a lot of jelly going on because they've been wanting attention for a long time. But Charles Barkley is right when he talks about this. Just be grateful you're getting the attention. It's coming. And now people like Ben Anderson and others are talking about the other great players in the league when nobody cared before. And I know that became a taboo thing to say, but it's true. Nobody cared about the WNBA. You know who watches stupid WNBA videos in my feed constantly? Me.
Yeah.
You know how much I used to do that?
Never.
Yep. Never even thought about it.
No, rising tides.
And I'm looking at quotes from Paige Beckers
Caitlin Clark
and all
is the
these
tides.
and she's the tide.
Yeah.
And you know what? Adam Silver should have gotten out of his grave and said, "What are you doing? Suspend this player because you can't have." I mean, the extreme, of course, is the malice in the palace, right? And you can't have people like fist fighting and doing all that. But you can't have your players punching them, other players into the throat or stabbing them in the eyeball with their fingernails or any of the stuff that goes on the reg in the WNBA. Somebody had to step in and tell this lady to grow a spine and figure out how to manage what is going on.
I'm not sure we would give David Stern a passing grade for every decision he made as the commissioner of the NBA. Some of them were extraordinarily flawed. Some of them were based on race, which were very flawed. However, he also said, you know what we need to stop having? Guys getting put in a chokehold and getting punched in the face. People actually don't want to watch that.
No.
We need to clean up our league. We need our league to be more family friendly. We need to make sure that the league feels safe. And he ruled at times with an iron fist and developed a truly amazing league that was probably the best sport in the 90s.
Made it more accessible.
And everybody has benefited since then. And that's where Engelbert needs to make the league more accessible.
And listen, I think it gets ridiculous sometimes, but in this country, we love justice. And that's a good thing when it comes to the law. I don't know. Sometimes in sports, I think we overcorrect a little bit. But people are going to look at that. They're going to look at your league, and they want some justice because they know that you're not supposed to get punched in the throat when you're playing basketball. So people want to see something happening. And when the commissioner is like, meh, it seemed like a no call to me.
Yeah. It's a turnoff.
Somebody's got to say, you got to get a hold of this. Get a hold of this thing.
Right.
You know, Kurt Rambis getting to get decapitated.
Correct.
And everybody saying, play on.
Yeah.
Is not actually good for the league.
Right. Funny highlight in retrospect, but it's actually not good at the time.
It's not. And, you know, Kurt Rambis was not Michael Jordan.
Correct.
And Caitlin Clark may be not the best player in the league, but she is the most popular and the most well-known, and the videos are going to be everywhere.
Yep.
Coming up next, we'll continue to talk some NBA. Joining the show will be Joel Lorenzi. He covers the Bulls, but really the NBA overall for The Athletic. He was at Summer League. He joined us during the, Western Conference Finals? Because he was in Oklahoma City. He was really good.
Yep.
So eager to get his insight coming up next. Stay tuned. Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Queen Carvania stood haloed by the morning sun. An army hung on her every word.
My champions, I have sold my chariot on Carvana. 'Twas a lovely SUV, an inexplicably queenly offer. They're even coming to the castle to collect it. Tonight, we feast. An offer you can feast on. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.